I'm genuinely surprised how close the British Empire still is. They're only like 170 behind their son, the US. It's been a close race. Again, these two country balls are still for sale over on makeship.com, but as always, time is running out. We're already gonna have to start another new campaign soon, which means these two will be gone forever. And if you thought this country ball sales race was interesting, I can't wait to show you the next one. The Fallout universe, but pre-war. So like before things got all hellscapish. So Fallout is set in a world where America all but froze culturally in the 1950s. So yeah, something nukes. Keyword culturally focused on 1950s USA, but this is the year 2077. So basically before World War II, it's still essentially the same timeline, then there's small divergence. So here's a world where the US just annexes Canada. It's about time. But then also NATO forms a singular country, or at least something similar, the European Commonwealth. Of course, the UK had Brexit in this universe. Brexit is always eternal. Though we are past the year 1990, the Cold War very much still exists. The USSR existing in Russia, and then of course a Chinese Communist Party still ruling the mainland, which means Germany's still split up between West and East. Yugoslavia is bigger than ever. Titograd! Is India dealing with some sort of communist uprising? Also, Northern Africa and the Arabian Peninsula might possibly be uninhabited. Maybe it just got too hot. There is a city here, though. I see whoever made this is a big fan of South Sudan since they got even chunkier. And Ethiopia never lost their coastline. Not 100% about this, but since we still live in obviously a Cold War universe, some of these red countries in Africa make me think that they might have gone communist. Not all the red countries are communist. I think they would also have maybe more of a communist name. You know, like the People's Republic of China, or technically North Korea is the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea. Almost missed this. Vietnam has been annexed by China. You too, Laos. Venezuela finally got Guyana. If you keep up with a lot of the Fallout universe's lore, apparently this map does do a pretty good job of integrating all this stuff. This is probably the best pre-war Fallout map I've ever seen. I don't remember the lore stating UK losing Northern Ireland. That's just my wishful thinking, lol. Apparently also in this universe, the US is supposed to annex Mexico, or at least occupy it. I like how the Soviets decided in this universe, we're just gonna annex Poland. None of our other friends in Europe. I feel like I like the pre-war maps of the Fallout universe more than the post-war. A survivalist map of the United States of America, circa 1952, 28 years after the Rising. So this is also a 1950s America, just with a zombie apocalypse occurring. All these X's mean that city's basically dead. And as you can see, a lot of cities are basically dead. No, not Florida too. However, luckily these zombies in this universe did not figure out how to master boats. So we have St. George Privateers, also Dixie Rangers. There are in fact friendly survivor enclaves if it has a triangle instead of an X. So actually Galveston, Texas, as well as Corpus Christi, basically coastal Texas cities have managed to survive. They might be importing resources from the Caribbean. Love the logic of this. Yeah, there's a lot of cities that have actually managed to fortify and stay safe. Of course, they're by the coast. Now, the red font and triangles indicate hostile survivors. They did not get overrun by the dead. However, they will probably kill humans too. There's a lot of them up here in the northeast. We've got a cult probably, as well as some raiders. I like how some of the islands have managed to beat back the zombies. I mean, that's going to be pretty simple enough if the island is small enough, of course. But even for the big ones, Cuba seems to be doing okay. Oh, but there's a hostile invasion, like a D-Day invasion, human on human action. Why did I describe it like that? Cuba better be careful, and so should the island of Hispaniola. Haiti's being attacked. Jamaica's doing, I think, okay right now. Obviously, a lot of these places still have functioning rail lines. Oh, the red indicates a surviving urban area. And again, it's because they're able to use the sea. Mexico has a ton of hostile fortifications. It sounds terrifying. The Church of the Firstborn of the Lamb of God. Somehow the Pacific states have managed to survive, and even LA is still thriving? No way. First of all, there are no zombies right now in LA, but even with that being the case, I think we're barely surviving. You know what? I take that back. I think we do actually have a couple zombies in LA. San Diego's doing good too, and the Bay Area. So the railway lines is able to extend, and I think we've been able to take over like states that have been overrun, maybe previously like Utah and Nevada. Our 1950s United States still exists, and it's just kind of on the west. We've actually taken back parts of Canada. We also have Native Americans still surviving with the Sioux tribe. There's a couple pockets of Native Americans. So clearly the infestation took place somewhere over here. I mean, there's literally something called the Great American Horde. This is just nothing but zombies. Oh man, and now hostile humans have just taken over the Great Lakes. This is really a cool concept. This is also obviously giving me Fallout vibes. Now I want to play a video game version of this. By any means necessary, or Joe Biden's final gambit to secure a second term. What? Politico with this headline, Vice President Biden, it's more likely than you think. Wait, is this actually a real headline? So this was made in fact after Joe Biden dropped out, so Kamala is the presumptive nominee versus Trump. The next headline from the New York Times, Kamala Harris announces Joe Biden as her vice president. They just pulled a little Uno reverse card on us then. In a surprise twist, after a concerted pressure campaign, Vice President Harris has simply agreed. Flip the ticket. Okay. Al Jazeera, Kamala Harris catches fire, leads Trump by over 8 points in latest polling. Whoa! Harris wins 92 times out of 100 according to these polls here. Over 1,000 simulations. The results are in, and she's dominating. 406 electoral votes, that's way more than she needs. She even flipped Texas. Harris has won the 2024 presidential election, according according to the AP. Breaking news! Harris found, what? What? White House found with 2 bullet, Joe Biden tweets out that day, "My fellow Americans, I've been informed about what happened to Kamala. I knew Kamala very well. It's with a heavy heart I'll perform my constitutional duty and serve as a second term as president," because he was chosen to be the vice president. Questions swirl as White House investigation rules President-elect Harris, it looks like this might in fact have been maybe an inside job. Congressional Democrats are in open revolt after alleged assassination. Final gambit, you say. 70% of Americans say that Biden was behind. 70% happens to also be his approval rating, though. Talk about dark Brandon. What the hell was this? Of course, now Trump tweeting fake news, crooked Hamlet, all nonsense. The truth is deep state something something. Wait, what? But let me tell you, I'm thrilled that instead of crooked Kamala, Joe Biden, a great friend, true patriot, will continue serving. Joe and I go way back. We are going to do tremendous things. What? Citing need to unify, Joe Biden announces Donald Trump as vice president in surprising move. What is this? Chaos in Congress as legislators try to figure out what exactly happened. Or wait, where exactly they stand. They're standing right here. What do you mean? They're all standing. It just doesn't end. Oh, now the Senate has been split between the Democrats and Republicans. These two are on the same side. Both the Biden faction and Trump faction are on the same side. This is them actually forming a coalition government. Over the opposition, the Democrats or the Kamala faction versus the Republicans, the fusionist faction, whatever that means. So these two are now working together to oppose these two. This was the most insane storyline. I gotta admit, I've heard a lot of crazy things. This is a first. Never underestimate this season's scriptwriter of American politics, because they've been throwing everything at us. I wouldn't be surprised about anything now. This is so ungodly unhinged. I love it. And here I was, thinking that 5 tequila shots was too many. I have to admit, I did honestly enjoy that. What if England became the US's 51st state? And how would that affect the election? In this universe, by November 5th, 2024, Trump is actually running up against California's governor, Gavin Newsom. Meanwhile, England themselves is having a governor's race to see who's going to be the governor of our new state, between Rory Stewart and Nigel Farage. Wow. I can't look at this guy anymore without thinking of Skibbity on the wall, who's the what do you say, the Skibbidus of them all.
And this message, James, is sponsored by Sam, Matthew, Finn, and Mo Lester.
Oh, looks like he actually lost this election. That's sad. Who wouldn't want more of that? I think we changed England's name to New Albany. New Albany. I don't know how to say it. But here are the gubernatorial races before that moment. I just want to know what happens to Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Did they just form their own countries? We just decided to take only England, I guess. I wanted to see more from this universe. That was interesting. The nations of Astronesia, or basically the too many independent states of the islands of the stars. So there's basically just thousands of satellites that have become independent nations, basically. Like, for instance, we have the Disney station over here, part of the Disney Galaxy. That sounds horrific. That's the last place I'd want to be. Just imagine being stuck out in space with this thing. The Boeing Republic, they're going down soon. New Nicaragua. Wow, so they even managed to get up a station. So we're clearly in the future. I like how also, if you look at the map, things haven't changed too much on Earth. It's kind of hard to tell, but they mostly seem about the same. Okay, it's actually really hard to tell. This is giving me a headache. I'm going to assume a lot of the stations closer to Earth are going to be less insane compared to the ones that are actually way out here. They might be evolving. They might not even be in human form. These are in fact in far Earth orbit over 100,000 kilometers away. Yeah, this is called the Inter-Extra. We've got probably some aliens. I don't know, the interstational compact. What the hell is even that? This is freaking me out. I don't know why I'm just thinking of the Alien movie. Who knows what can be found out in those satellites. New Kazan. Loving the old references. This is an old Hordic tribe from centuries ago. Well, it's actually also just a city in Russia. Maybe that's probably the reference. But the city probably references what I was talking about. Gen ship impact. Kim Il-sung station. Yo, North Korea got out into space. This might be the only thing they have, and they sent it way out far away. Oh, we have to find the flag. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, this is something else that North Korea has. Oh my goodness, I almost missed all this stuff. There's a ton of satellites that are just circling Earth's moon here. Well, a different Earth's moon. Wait, what? Did we basically what? Colombia looks like, I don't really know what Colombia's doing. They have oil rigs in space. Turkestan. Is Goku in there? New Brazzaville, which should be the newest country soon. Even they got satellites. We're clearly way out in the future. I don't think I've ever seen a singular post that has this many Easter eggs. I could look at this all day. I feel like some of these satellites are located in a part of Earth's orbit, and then there's other countries that have other satellites in the other part. I wish it was a video game where I could select 1, and then it highlights where else they have like controlled satellites at. Love that even in the future, we have satellite flags with the Union Jack slapped in the corner. Commonwealth of High Australia. Nepal's flag definitely deserves to be in space. Utopia, one of the many attempts to create a utopia. This is a totalitarian dictatorship run by former church leader and university professor, this name, of course. I don't think the island of Taiwan exists on this Earth's universe. I think China eventually took that back, but Taiwan does still exist out in space. Prehistoric Republic of Dino World. This is basically Jurassic Park, but in satellite form. Man, this was so cool. I did not expect it to get this deep. Yeah, literal masterpiece. And we barely even scratched the surface. There's probably so much more. What if Great Britain formed like the nation of Germany? States of the British Empire after unification of Britain in 1871, which yes, happens to be the exact same year the German Reich first formed. For that moment, they just had a bunch of German states, but we're gonna see this version now in the British Isles. Actually, theirs looks surprisingly even uglier. So some of the English states they had to manage to bring together, Oxford, Bedford, Cambridge, Norfolk, these were all like independent countries before. They kind of maybe functioned somewhat together, but not exactly. Not until this moment. Well, the thing that brought German unification together was an attack from France, so they were able to all unite in Germany, defeating France and then solidifying that they are one solid country. So what happened to the British? You know, it's probably fair to say that it was the French as well. The French attacked Normandy, which I guess Normandy is a part of the British Empire in this universe, and that began everyone to unite under one king, Bismarck, whatever the English version of Bismarck would be. However, the comparison with Germany doesn't end there. Now here's the British Republic after 1920, assuming they lost World War I. This is the after effects of the Treaty of Versailles. Just like Germany lost World War I and lost a bunch of territories with that, now this happens to the British. They pretty much lost all of England. They've only kept a part of Northern Ireland. Ulster is oversight under the League of Nations. Oh goodness, not the League of Nations. British also lost Normandy. I want to know what happens to their overseas territories and if they really had any. Remember that this was the moment that Germany lost all their overseas colonies in Africa and Oceania. While they even took away Cornwall. They made Cornwall, I believe, an independent nation. At least they kept everything else united on this island, I think. So this means that there's going to be an Austrian painter that takes over and starts a bunch of chaos, huh? I bet you he's not going to be from Austria, though. He has to be from a closer neighboring country. He's probably like Dutch. Maybe he's like a Dutch painter, a more recent Vincent van Gogh. Whoa, maybe that would be it. In this universe, he doesn't die at the age of 37. He lives another like 50 years. Possible. I need to stop thinking about this because this makes me like race with all sorts of crazy ideas. What a crazy timeline of events for the British that kind of formed like Germany, obviously. Britain invades Ireland and Ulster, beginning the Second World War. Oh, that makes sense too, because of course they'd want that stuff back. What if Argentina was colonized by the British? In this universe, they are called the Argentine. They still kept their son, though. Of course, this is now just permanently the Falkland Islands, I guess. And obviously, the vast majority of the country is going to be speaking English. It was colonized by the British, so yeah, they'd be speaking English now. Issue is there's still a lot of Spanish speakers, specifically near Chile. Just because the British colonized La Plata doesn't mean the Spanish Empire didn't, continue to colonize Chile, Bolivia, Paraguay. Well, actually, Paraguay looks like they're speaking a lot of English. Even Uruguay as well. So yeah, they grabbed more than just the Argentine. They grabbed a lot of South America. Technically, this is probably a better term for all of it, Patagonia. I feel like they'd be a bit more Portuguese speakers just because they're getting close to Brazil, unless in this universe, the Portuguese don't colonize Brazil. Maybe this is all Spanish. Clearly, Spanish colonizers still did get here eventually, but I think the British maybe stole it away because this is still called Buenos Aires, and a lot of these cities still have like Spanish names in the beginning, not the South so much. It's like Los Angeles, California. A lot of cities in the south of the U.S. get their names from the Spanish Empire. I just want to know, are the Argentinians in our universe going to despise this or like it? Because never mind. English or Oh no, didn't even consider that. Big ol' thanks to my patrons. Drew's Argentinian grandpa. Lucas, the Canadian Goose from Avoca.
Drew har förvisats från Sverige för brottet att vara dans.
Amateur Archaeology. Sarsath. Carmel S. DaBeautiful-MEGAN-Underwood. Fredrik Tibblin. I can't sleep without Drew. Sebby, if you hear this, Tambre.